Thousands of cruise passengers are furious today after their dream Bahamas vacation turned into a winter wonderland up in Canada. In what many thought was a joke at first, the last-minute cruise correction has sparked fury amongst passengers on board. Let's roll the intro. Hey, welcome to the Midships channel. It's your Captain Corey. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel today, and let's get things kicked off with a question of the day. Question: what do you think of specialty dining, and is it worth the money? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, let's get right into this story. This one's a doozy. We're gonna head up to New York City, where thousands of passengers are fuming to MSC Cruise Line as they were met with this letter the day before their cruise, informing them of important changes to their sailing. The letter reads, "Thanks for choosing MSC for your upcoming cruise. We're contacting you with an important update about said cruise that sails tomorrow. To inform you that we have significantly altered your itinerary due to adverse weather conditions across Florida and the Bahamas throughout the week ahead. Heavy rain is expected at most destinations we will visit, as well as near hurricane force winds, which would render maneuvers and docking in port unsafe. To ensure your safety and well-being, we will now sail instead to Canada and New England, where we expect to encounter fairer weather conditions. Below is your updated itinerary." Now, of course, unless you've been living underneath a rock for the last few days, the Gulf of Mexico, Florida, the Bahamas, heck, the entire east coast of the US has seen weather the likes of which you wouldn't expect really this time of year. So much so that I was personally unable to get off my cruise for several days in a row on the Valiant Lady. You know, the cruise I disembarked like 2 days ago. That's right, I sailed through the heart of this storm. I encountered some of the roughest weather, the roughest seas that I've ever seen in the Bahamas and the Caribbean, and we were forced to cancel, well, a couple main events on a Virgin cruise. The Scarlet Night, we had to do it inside, and we also had to cancel our call to the cruise line's private island, the Bimini Beach Club. So needless to say, a lot of folks who are cruising right now are going through these amended itineraries as a result. There's actually more than half a dozen cruise ships that have been forced to make some kind of change to their port stops. And some cruises, well, they've even turned into cruises to nowhere in the wake of all this stormy madness that's going on right now. But if you invested the time in searching for the perfect cruise, booking it, paying for it, picking airfare, hotels, all kinds of shore excursions, getting all packed up for your Bahamas cruise, only to be told 24 hours before departure that you're actually going to Canada, well, that's a large deviation, a rather large deviation, and I wonder if MSC could have done something else. Anything. You know, I'm not sure if Bermuda was even an option. I'm not sure if the Southeastern Caribbean might have worked out, but look, you've got a lot of people on this ship who probably already packed and departed for this cruise, showing up with flip-flops and bikinis, who are now going to Canada in December. And passengers are sounding off, with one online saying that in their 30 years of cruising, over 50 sailings, this has never happened, and they're not sure what to do. They had all of their holiday plans built around this specific cruise, lots of money spent, and the changes left their family very upset. With another passenger taking to TikTok, America's favorite place to air their grievances, pointing the camera at kids braving the elements in the cold for a swim on board the Miravilia, saying it was expletive freezing. Now, the Miravilia, it's a very large ship. Having sailed on it a couple times now personally, I know there's a fair amount to do on board. I mean, you can even bowl. There's a bowling alley on this ship. It's not exactly a cold weather ship, though, that's for sure. There's really not a whole lot of large gathering spaces for leisure that are inside. Say, for instance, swimming, you know, hot tubs, those kind of things that you want to do on your cruise. Well, those just don't exist inside on the Miravilia. Here's the thing, though. Having personally sailed through this storm, I could tell you the average cruiser wouldn't want to have to deal with it. It wouldn't be like you could really get outside on the ship anyways because of the weather. You wouldn't get into port. You'd be seasick the entire cruise, especially if you're not used to cruising. All you would have is gray skies and rain for the entire week. You couldn't even really use your balcony. So to get diverted to sunshine, hopefully, fingers crossed, and chilly weather, it might actually be a blessing in disguise for these folks sailing on the MSC Miravilia. And you know what else would be a blessing in disguise? A little bit of help with finishing your Christmas shopping list. Yes, holiday shopping is in full swing. There's only a few days left to get your orders in, and a really easy way to round off your list for every cruise lover in your life is through the Midships Amazon store. In there, you can find everything I take with me every time I cruise. I love those items. I've personally curated them. They're very affordable, and most of them ship 2 days on Amazon Prime. Check it out. There's a link in the description down below. So the million-dollar question here, who's in the wrong and who's in the right? You know, as a seasoned, experienced cruiser, I can tell you when weather that is this bad comes around, the cruise lines go out of their way to get out of the way from said weather. And I'm sure many of you have experienced a similar situation at some point throughout your cruising career, especially if you sail like August through November, peak hurricane season. Just never assume that you are going to make all of your cruise ports. Never assume that those cruise ports are even ports that you're going to want to go to. You know, your cruise contract says in black and white, the cruise line will avoid weather about as ferociously as they avoid paying taxes here in the United States, or about as ferociously as they avoid paying their crew members a fair wage. But in all reality, as many angry social media posts were made about what happened with the change in itinerary, there were just as many, if not more, replies from people on cruises currently in the Gulf of Mexico, in the Bahamas, and the Caribbean, saying, "You're darn lucky that you're not here. You'll be dang glad you didn't sail down here. We're currently getting 25-foot waves. We've not been off the ship. Everyone is seasick." Y'all, I'm telling you, I sailed through this. That's exactly what it's like. But what do you think about all this? I completely understand the disappointment, the massive disappointment that a lot of these folks are probably on their holiday cruises. They're doing their Christmas thing, their Hanukkah thing, their Kwanzaa thing. Did I miss any holidays? And look, what better way to spend the holidays than with your toes in the water on a beautiful beach? Like, I can't blame you for wanting that. But luckily for these holiday makers, they still have a gorgeous cruise ship to sail on. They still have lovely shows to attend. And, well, they get to make the best of the hand that they were just dealt. And honestly, that is a beautiful lesson in building character, especially during the time of year when we're supposed to be most compassionate and caring about others. Don't forget to get subscribed here to the Midships channel if you never want to miss all of these fun and pertinent cruise topics that I've been putting out here lately on the channel. We've got the 10 ugliest cruise ships episode set to drop here in the next day or two. Can't wait to share it with you. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel today. And until next time, we'll see ya on the Midships.
La 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 la